As a center, Fan Yi-Zhen. That's followed by goalkeeper Lai Yu-Jie. We see the introductions being done right now. Very good presentation there. Nice spotlights there for the players to walk into. For defense, Yang Yi-Zhen.
And finally, Lai Yu-Jie rounds things off for this starting 7. She is the goalkeeper.
We've got Maldives coming on court right now. An exciting team as well, as we see what we'll expect to be 2 evenly matched teams fighting it out. Goal attack first introduced here, Aminath Leela. Now that's Aminath Leela coming up. So first introduced there was goal shooter, Eemaa Abdul. And now we see the wing attack coming on, Aminath Shaam. Center, Aminath Nazra. In wing defense, Aisath Hanan Hussain.
2 more players to round things off here for the Maldives. And it's Hamna Abdul Rahman who's in goal defense. And finally, Aminath Rabaab Ibrahim. Just to give you the names of the rest of the players not starting: Ada Amir, Sara Abdul Bari, Aisath Luna Musa, Rashida Musa, and Aisath Zunana Nimal. And their officials: Aminath Halim, the coach; Hawa Zahira, the manager; Salma Ismail, assistant manager; and Ibrahim Rashid, team official. And there are your officials as well for this match. So these 2 sides are about to get underway once formalities are complete. We'll tell you how they've got on so far. Chinese Taipei, well, they had a baptism of fire in these championships, didn't they, Philip? They were up against one of the big favourites here, Sri Lanka, and it wasn't a great start for them.
No, I don't think they'll want to remember that match too much. The margin, we have to say it here, 137-5. I'll have to say outclass is probably the right word for that.
Absolutely
for that
right.
occasion.
A much better performance against India, 75-25, as Chinese Taipei get us underway here. And a chance here to get the first goal as well.
They do.
Nicely done.
Shazad, I know you were a bit surprised. We were looking off the stat sheets earlier, and we were looking at the average age for both teams. And I think you were a bit surprised to find out that the Chinese Taipei players average 14.
Yeah, absolutely right. It is by far the youngest team here in this Asian Championships. And you contrast that with the Maldives, average age of 24. So it really is a stark difference here. And talking of the Maldives, they were up against Malaysia, also one of the big teams here, and lost 13-74. That's no real surprises there, the defending champions.
Not at all. I think the Malaysians are pretty well drilled for this competition, and I think they were just out to make sure that they get everything running. So not a big surprise for the Maldives. Not exactly known for the netball as yet.
But they really bounced back very well. They almost beat the Japanese. What a game that was. 35-34. It's the closest match we've had so far.
Yes, and we just saw the Japan team in action earlier, and I know they're pretty interesting setup. And for this Maldives team to run them that close, that shows you that they've got a couple of tricks in their back as well.
Yeah, and Japan just lost to India 57-65. So you'd have to say that the Maldives come into this as the favourites here. Age difference and is part of that, and also the last time these two sides played, it was a very different Chinese Taipei side. Was in these championships 4 years ago.
Yes, and I'm sure the average age of that team was a lot higher than this one, and it proved a lot more, or rather far more competitive. In that match 4 years ago, it was the Chinese Taipei who came on top, 46-15, and they actually went on to finish 7th, just 2 spots ahead of Maldives in 9th.
Yeah, and Chinese Taipei, they ranked 33rd in the world. Probably not with this side, I think it's fair to say. Maldives unranked.
But regardless, I think Shazad and this team we have on court right now, they'll come away from this tournament with plenty of experience. And even then, I do expect them to put up a huge fight this match right now. The score currently, Maldives 3, Chinese Taipei 1, and it's Chinese Taipei in possession, with the possession.
So been a little bit scrappy start to this. The handling there could have been a bit better.
Well, we've got a record 12 teams participating this time in this tournament, Shazad, and it's resulted in a neat little format of play.
Yep, they've changed the format, haven't they?
Yes.
With 2 preliminary rounds.
Well, 4 groups of 3, where you separate the teams into the teams that finish top, second and third. We're watching the action between 2 teams that finish third in their groups, so we should be expecting an evenly matched 2 teams here for this game.
Yeah, we got a relatively close match in the last game, so let's hope for something similar here. With just remind you, Japan, Maldives, Malaysia in Group A, Chinese Taipei, Sri Lanka, and India in Group B.
Group C was Singapore, Brunei, and Pakistan. Group D, Hong Kong, Thailand, and the Philippines.
That is far better handling this time round from Aminath Leela.
And how things have shaken out since the first round of preliminary matches. In the second round, we've got the group of all the table toppers. It is Malaysia, Sri Lanka, Singapore, and Hong Kong. We'll see them in action later in the day. And what we saw earlier was a match in Group F. Japan, India, Brunei, and Thailand in that one. And now Maldives versus Chinese Taipei. There are the 2 teams there in this group, Pakistan and the Philippines.
And of course, let's also just remind you that the big carrot here at the Asian Netball Championships is the fact that the top 2 sides will get direct entry into the World Cup 2019 in Liverpool, England. So that is a massive, massive incentive, of course, not just to be crowned Asian champions.
And to be honest with you, Shazad, I know no disrespect meant to Hong Kong. The 3 teams, I think, who would like to see themselves having very strong claims to those 2 spots, Malaysia, Singapore, Sri Lanka. And it's going to be a huge, huge fight. 3 into 2, as you know, doesn't fit. So it will be which 2 teams prevail, which 2 teams that make themselves find themselves into the final that will gain those 2 spots for Liverpool.
Yes, indeed. Malaysia have been to the World Cup 6 times. Singapore have been there 9 times. And Hong Kong have been there 5 times. Those are the 3. Then, of course, Sri Lanka, who probably been a little bit more consistent. They've been there 9 times themselves. So those would be the favourites. And Maldives here, as you said, not necessarily well known for their netball. Football and cricket generally the major sports. 6-3 they currently lead. And Aminath has improved the handling from the very start. 7-3 is the lead. haven't got themselves into particularly many scoring positions. Intercepted, and just have a look at the goalkeeper there, Aminath Ibrahim. She's towering over everyone else. That is a massive advantage. That's just an illustration of the point I was just making.
There was no way through for the Chinese Taipei goal shooter there. And a far more experienced player would have possibly tried to do a bit of a step around before shooting the ball. But it is the Maldives on attack now.
Oh, it's almost, it was bobbling around. It couldn't quite get it in. Eemaa Abdul Sattar back again with her. She's got Aminath there. And those are some of the handling problems we saw a little earlier on from her. Fails to hold on to the ball. Well, they're holding their own for the moment. It's only 4 goals difference.
Yeah, but for a poor spell there, between the 3rd to 6th minutes, I think, you know, Chinese Taipei have been generally doing all right.
Another opportunity spurned. A bit of contact. This is where they are struggling just to find opportunities, and that is where she will make the big difference. Literally and figuratively, Aminath Ibrahim. Done a pretty good job so far. Just putting the hand over the ball there makes it difficult. Here come the Maldives. Aminath looking for Eemaa.
Good block there by the Taiwanese player.
Just evaded the goalkeeper's hands. Still only 7-3. Haven't added to the scoring in a while, neither side.
No, not at all. But again, you know, the score right now doesn't quite indicate the competitiveness that we're seeing on court right now. But Maldives.
That is much better from Eemaa. Aminath.
And a turnover there.
Yeah, it's a short pass, that one, earlier. Now on the counter, just trying to make a little bit of headway, but once again, the footwork letting them down. There was obstruction. That's 9-3. They've just added a little bit more.
But the Maldives defense has been really, really tight, and you know, it's just harrying the Taiwanese into little mistakes. But the goal shooter making no mistakes there from her opportunity. Lee Sin-Ru putting Taiwan on board. Score is 9-4 right now in favor of the Maldives.
Just a 5 points in it, and they'd feel that they still, with 4 minutes to go, Chinese Taipei can hold on, take a few more of those opportunities. They can narrow that gap. We saw that Chinese Taipei allowed, or rather Japan allowed India to run away with it a little bit in that first quarter. And they were always playing catch up, weren't they, until that fourth quarter, which they won to their credit.
Oh, this one's not really settled into any sort of a definite rhythm as for now, Shazad.
Yeah, it's a little disjointed, isn't it, at times, but there's some opportunities here. And that was well taken by Dai Jun-Fang. But it's those little mistakes that are costing Chinese Taipei at the moment. Still about 3 minutes to go. And here come the Maldives. That is good. She's not going to make any mistakes from there, Eemaa. She's been pretty good so far.
Well, as you can see, Shazad, from the last match that we commentated, and now there is a difference in the way the game is being played out. I think it's quite obvious that we see the quality of the players, the quality of play. I think these are two teams that are still learning the finer points of the game.
Yeah,
and
there's a little bit less finesse, I think, so far from the two. Handling is also not quite there at the moment.
But I guess it's the competitiveness between the two teams that's making this contest a bit more compelling as well.
Yeah, let's not forget, it's still just 6 goals. This is Aisath Hanan. Now Aminath. There was some contact there. Aminath, that's better from her. 11-4 now, with less than a minute and a half left. Good pass out to Aminath. She takes that well. A little bit of luck there, was it? And it is going to turn over to Chinese Taipei. Looking at options. This is the problem they've had. They haven't got enough options at the moment. Looking for better movement to create opportunities for passing. And again, problem with the footwork.
Well, the Chinese Taipei coach has work cut out for him at the break. I think the players need a bit of a pep talk to just get them refocus on how to get the game going. It seems like they're just taking a bit more time with making up their minds how to pass the ball and to move the ball up the court, and that's costing them right now.
There was an incorrect entry into the area. And nicely done once again by Eemaa. It's wrapped up. The Maldives lead Chinese Taipei then 11-4 at the end of the first. Welcome back to the M1 Asian Netball Championships. Maldives up against Chinese Taipei. The score is 12-4, by the way, not 11. And looking pretty good. What did you make of that first quarter, Philip?
Well, exactly how the score reflects, to be honest with you. I mean, 12-4. Maldives probably, I wouldn't say they're playing 3 times better, but you know, they are just stringing their moves a lot more smoother compared to the Taiwanese players, the Chinese Taipei players. And as you can see there, they've already put the first point on board for the second quarter there, the Maldives.
Not a great pass there, I'm afraid, from Aminath Leela, who's really got to work on a few aspects at the moment. That's a little bit better. Much quicker attack. And she has been very good there, Eemaa Abdul Sattar. Chinese Taipei haven't necessarily got themselves into too many scoring positions, and that would be the concern for them. Just seems that Maldives have come out with a little bit more intent in this second quarter, Philip.
They have, and you know, having outscored the Chinese Taipei, as we mentioned earlier, 12-4, they have quickly put another 3 goals on board, and they haven't really been threatened at all.
No.
In this quarter.
Lovely lob pass there to Eemaa, who makes no mistake.
But we have seen flashes of good play from the Chinese Taipei players.
There we go, on cue. Well done, Philip.
and that was Dai Jun-Fang there, scoring what is the 5th goal for Chinese Taipei. Score now 16-5. Make that 17-5. As the Maldives continue to just get a good grip on this match.
Yeah, there's just a few infringements that Chinese Taipei need to cut out of their game, and that's something, of course, they will learn more and more. The margin is now 3. There was a very good pass there. Instinctive one. Here's Aminath. Obstruction earlier. Eemaa strikes again.
Well, from the stat sheet that we were given, it seems like Eemaa is the main goal scorer for the Maldives. She accounted for 78.7 of their goals, but it looks like in this particular match right now, it is Aminath who has taken the bulk of the scoring duties there. And we already see a substitution coming in for Chinese Taipei, or rather a switch around of the players.
Yep, a few changes there within the Chinese Taipei side, and we're also seeing one here now with the Maldives making a change. Just wonder whether that, it's a lot of changes, wonder whether that's going to be a change of rhythm as well. Yi-Zhen is the new goalkeeper in. And Yi-Zhen has come in as the wing attack.
Chen Peng-Hsuan, yeah, she's moved from wing attack to center now. And the center that we saw earlier, Fang Yi-Qian, the bespectacle player, she's been subbed out. We also see the introduction of Yang Men-Chuan as the new goal defense.
And young Yi-Zhen is no longer goal defense, she's now wing defense, which means Chou Min-Xuan misses out for the moment.
Let's see. We see if this changes gives the Chinese Taipei team a bit more balance as they have possession right now.
Quick work. Aminath. She's going to go for it here. That was falling well short. We can tell you there's one change for the Maldives as well. Sada Abdul is now wing defense. She replaces Hanan Aisath Hussain. (22-8) is the score at the moment.
Well, a lot more movement from both teams in this quarter. We're already seeing nearly as many goals scored in this quarter as the last one, and still more than 8.5 minutes on the clock.
Yeah, it's just picked up, hasn't it? And that's great for both sides. It's now whether Chinese Taipei can move beyond. They should almost certainly get more than the 4 points they got in the first quarter. Of course, when you make a lot of changes like that, it can disrupt the flow sometimes. Eemaa once again. Very well done. As you mentioned, 78.7% of their goals.
She must be shooting close to that percentage now.
Yeah.
Perhaps even higher. As we see Eemaa there, just scoring another goal. It's now 24-8.
Yep, exactly 12-4 this quarter. It was 12-4 in the first quarter as well. Maldives certainly have stepped up a level in this second quarter. Oh, that's very carelessly given away. Nicely taken by Eemaa. Obstruction there. Nice take from Eemaa. Again, there was obstruction of her. Again, she's in a very good position and not marked very tightly. Well, they have already exceeded the goal scored in this second quarter, Philip, and you can just see the way they have got a little sharper, haven't they?
Well, I'm trying to figure out whether this is the result of the reshuffle that the Chinese Taipei players have had to go through, and maybe that's just them settling in with this new formation. But it is all too easy right now for the Maldives moving the ball into the D.
I got to say, some very quick hands being shown by Aminath Shaam. Very, very quick. She's done it a couple times now to get the ball up to Eemaa. And again, very impressive goalkeeping from Aminath Ibrahim. Not for the first time we've said that today.
Well, she's making a height advantage count there.
Eemaa does well. Turnover here by Chinese Taipei. That was a overhead pass from Wu Yuyin. And they add to that tally. (30-8) is the score, with under 5 minutes to go. Chinese Taipei, they'd started fairly well in this second quarter, scored 4, and it's all gone quite quiet for them, hasn't it?
It has. I'm surprised, to be honest with you, Shazad. I expected them to be a bit more competitive, but again, if we look at the results from the first round of preliminary matches, it could have been Maldives that were playing against, getting into the second place instead of finishing up in the third place.
That's a fair point. They only just missed out by 1 goal.
Yeah,
a couple of goals really overall to get into that second place.
So it's a bit of the luck of the draw that resulted with them being here. I mean, it's a 1 goal difference. I mean, if they had been placed in a different group, perhaps they could have ended up playing in the group of teams that should be ranked between 5 and 8 instead of 9 and 12.
Well, just remember, Chinese Taipei managed to score 25 points against a very impressive India. So
they did. We need to see a bit more of that, of that in this quarter as well as the remaining half of this game.
At the moment, it's all Maldives. Aminath does well.
And even when they make mistakes, they're not being punished by the Chinese Taipei. Passes that go astray, but not enough Chinese Taipei players hustling for the ball.
Again, that was a little too easy, but somehow Chinese Taipei have won the ball back. So put pressure on. Done a good job here. Do notice that Aminath has dropped back a lot more than what she did earlier.
Well, with a wing attack bib on her, she's allowed to run all the way into the second third of the court. Sorry, goal attack. So she's making the most of her position to be able to roam up the court to assist with the rest of the team to put more pressure under the Chinese on the Chinese Taipei team.
A lot of interceptions and attempted ones as well from Maldives. Again, the footwork has let Chinese Taipei down. Under 2 minutes left here. It's 21-4 in this quarter alone. 33-8 overall. Chinese Taipei have really just lost their way, haven't they?
Have not been able to get in any sort of rhythm at all. It's just been chasing the game, from the start of the second quarter. We were expecting a bit more fight back from them.
Just don't want them to be completely demoralized going into the second half.
Well, the good thing for them is I haven't seen their heads drop as yet. They're still putting up a good fight.
Bit of frustration there from the Chinese Taipei centre. Yu-Cian looking for options, and that was probably the best chance they've had to score in the last 10 minutes. Couple of them now. But we're just getting an indication as to why they're having problems in front of goal.
Well, when you get 2 bites of the cherry and you can't score from either of them. And in this instance, again, a turnover.
Contact there.
Just a bit of frustration there from the Chinese Taipei centre.
Just about 20 seconds or so left in this first half, as it were.
Well, give credit to the Maldives. I mean, they've not really let up at all. You know, even though they have such a commanding lead right now. And it's far too easy to just, you know, not take your foot off the pedal and just.
Is there a chance for one more? No, there isn't. And that should be it for this first half. And again, good goalkeeping there from Aminath, Rabaab, Ibrahim. It's been all Maldives in that second.
halftime stats earlier, and it looks like Chinese Taipei really being outdone in all departments there, and especially where it matters, the scoring. They've only taken 14 attempts so far in the whole match, and scored from 8 of them, whereas the Maldives have taken 45 and they've put 35 on board. So, that's where things stand. You have 45 attempts against 14, and obviously you're going to be way in front.
I wonder whether Maldives, because they're clearly in front here, I wonder whether they'll be happy with 35 out of 45 in terms of efficiency there.
I'd think that they'll continue playing with this intensity. I think they have a point to prove. I think they'll probably feel aggrieved that they're not playing in a higher up bracket.
There's that element, isn't it, that
Yeah.
they have just failed to make that high bracket, as you say.
So
So they want to top this one, won't
they
they?
will definitely want to top this one.
Just to remind you, in this bracket, as it were, Maldives, Chinese Taipei, Pakistan, and the Philippines. And
Well, I'm on the basis of this performance right now, I would think Maldives have a very good chance of actually putting themselves at the top of this group.
well, let's tell you some of the scores we've had earlier today. Brunei were up against Thailand, and it was 66-33 in favour of the Thais. That was from Group F. That's the middle tier, as it were.
Yeah.
And Pakistan, Philippines. So we just talked about those two teams, and Philippines won that, Philip.
62-36. So setting themselves up for a showdown with the Maldives, and that will happen not tomorrow, but on Thursday. That's a goal attempt there by Chinese Taipei when sailing over the net.
And I'm afraid there's been a few of those type of situations where they've actually gotten to a decent position, but they just haven't been able to convert.
Just a quick look at the teams on court right now, especially for Chinese Taipei. I think Shazad, we should be looking at some, pieces of paper floating our way shortly to tell us of positional changes.
Yep.
I see the girl who started as a center at the start of the match for Chinese Taipei, Fang Yi-Chen. She's actually now back in the game wearing the WA bib. She's now the wing attack. So I expect we'll see confirmation of some of these positional changes coming up soon.
Yep, those changes just about to come to our hands, and we'll update you of all of that.
But in the meantime, we see the Maldives have scored 3 goals already in this quarter, and they are now leading by 37-8. Chinese Taipei still haven't got themselves on board yet, but we will be seeing possession now, or rather we're seeing possession now for the Maldives, as there was a turnover there for Chinese Taipei. And it's been reciprocated by Chinese Taipei there. It's a turnover from the Maldives. The ball going back up the court now as Chinese Taipei look to put themselves on the board for this quarter. And as I was running through some of the stats from the first half, there's a 60% shooting percentage for, or rather 12 attempts at goal for Eemaa Abdul. She's got 9 out of the 12 and 22 out of 24 attempts in the second quarter. Aminath Leela took 8 shots. She scored from 3 in the first quarter, and then she had a 1 solitary attempt in the second quarter, which she didn't score from. And I am guessing, Shazad, that you will be telling me shortly that there has been some changes in the Maldives personnel as well, because I don't recognize one of the players up there who's now wearing the GA.
Yes, that would be Ada Amir now, who's the goal attack, and we've got wing defence with Sada Abdul Bari, and also Aisath Hussain is now centre. Aminath Nazra has gone from centre to goal defence. Chinese Taipei, they make a few changes as well. Chen Li-Jun has now come on.
She's the goal attack.
And goal shooter is Dai Jun-Fang. She's gone from GA to GS.
Number 5, Fan Yi-Chen, as I mentioned just now, she's come back into the game as WA, wing attack.
Lai Yu-Jie is also now back as a goalkeeper as well. Yi is back on the bench. Now, they are going 7 unanswered goals here, the Maldives. Chinese Taipei looking a little down and out at the moment. And they're looking now to try and at least break that duck here. 9 minutes left. But again, the goalkeeping impressive from Aminath Ibrahim. Chinese Taipei looking to put some pressure on. Once again, I've spurned that opportunity. A little bit too much on that pass from Aminath. Again, it's turned over, and they quickly go forward here. And Eemaa.
That's 8 unanswered points in this quarter, Shazad.
Yeah, Chinese Taipei really haven't got into it since the break. We were hoping that whatever kind of halftime talk there would have been would have made some kind of impact. Hasn't been the case so far.
And I honestly don't recall any goal attempts from them this quarter. Perhaps you'll see things change within the next 7.5 minutes. That was one of them. Unsuccessful.
Yeah, that's probably been as close as it's got for them at the moment. Maldives come forward. Again, quick hands. Good to see. Very nicely done by the centre there, Hanan Hussain. It's now 10. Look a bit of a forlorn unit at the moment, Chinese Taipei. And make that 11. Eemaa. Well, you might as well fill your boots and help your stats out at the moment.
Right. It's just one way at the moment.
It is one way. Absolutely right. Maldives will be looking to try and impose themselves as much as possible. I mean, in these situations, you have to be ruthless, don't you?
You have to be. As you asked me the question earlier, Shazad, I really do not see Maldives letting up. I think they will just keep pressing on until the final whistle, as they should. After all, this is the M1 Asian Netball Championships here we're talking about. I mean, this is the top level tournament, the highest level tournament you can have for this continent.
And effectively, a World Cup qualifying tournament as well. Let's just remind you again, in case you missed it earlier, that the top 2 sides here at this tournament, the finalists basically, will make their way to the 2019 Netball World Cup.
And that's happening in Liverpool.
Liverpool it is, that's right. Remember, England stunned the world when they won the Commonwealth gold medal a few months ago, beating Australia. They'll have the home advantage, so that will be interesting. England, Australia, New Zealand will be the 3 big teams to look out for.
I wouldn't even put New Zealand in that bracket anymore, to be honest with you, Shazad. I mean, 4 to 6 years maybe ago, I would think they are there, but as it has been shown in recent years, England coming through Cook Islands, Jamaica, all these are teams that are making a huge impact, even Trinidad and Tobago as well. And a couple of African countries, I think, have very strong claims. But New Zealand has fallen out of that top 2 positions. It's very much now between Australia and England. Perhaps even South Africa, but again, South Africa is suffering the same kind of fortunes that New Zealand is having right now.
New Zealand, in their last 2 World Cup finals in 2011, which of course was right here in Singapore, they lost by 1 goal, 58-57 in that one. And then in 2015 in Sydney, they lost by 3 goals. So it's 2 very, very tight finals that they've had. Some of those other teams that you mentioned, they've been at the Nations Cup as well, haven't they, in Singapore?
They have.
A few months ago.
And we always welcome them here because they are part of the whole process of trying to elevate the standards of netball in this region. As we often welcome Sri Lanka and Malaysia to those tournaments, or to that tournament, to the Nations Cup, and a handful of African nations coming through as well, who always bring a different style of playing, different formations, and that's where the exposure to those type of play will continue to elevate the standard of playing here.
Yep, Cook Islands won the last Nation Cup with Swaziland 2nd, Singapore came 3rd, Ireland 4th, Malaysia 5th, Hong Kong 6th. And by the way, in this 3rd quarter, Chinese Taipei have still failed to score. This is not the highest scoring quarter yet for Maldives, but there is still about 3 minutes left to go. But it is getting tougher and tougher at the moment, Chinese Taipei. They have to keep plugging away, get themselves in some scoring positions. Here is an opportunity to finally break that duck. And it is still goalless for them. There's the coaching staff. Not looking particularly happy, which you can completely understand.
Oh, it'd be a shame for them to let this 3rd quarter pass by without scoring. It's now 18 goals for the Maldives.
That was the deficit as well that was the difference, the margin in the 2nd quarter. So they've matched that, and pretty sure they will surpass that. That is disappointing, the footwork there again, and that means the Maldives profit, and they've now got 19 unanswered goals in this 2nd half so far in the 3rd quarter. That was a bit of a wayward pass from Ada Amir.
Well, Chinese Taipei have less than 2 minutes to try and get themselves on the scoreboard, at least for this quarter. And I'm sure they'll like to do that as we see them going up the court.
And they'll be, I think, disappointed by the fact that they still managed to score 25 against Japan.
They did, and
so it's a bit surprising.
If they can reproduce some of that, we'll perhaps see a match that's a lot closer than what we are seeing now. It's already 53 points for the Maldives, and Chinese Taipei is still sitting on the 8 that they carried into the halftime break.
Of course, they did only score 5. Finally, they've done it. They've eventually got a goal here. Dai Jun-Fang, barely a smile from her.
She is their top scorer, but then again her shooting percentage is 2 goals out of every 3 attempts, 66.7% scoring rate, and we're pleased for her team that she managed to get that one in. As we see the Maldives putting another one through the net for this quarter to lead this quarter 20-1 and overall 54-9.
Well, we're into the final few seconds here. Maldives probably thinking, well, we would have loved to have kept a clean sheet there if we could in this quarter. But they are absolutely in charge of this match. They add another one to their tally. It's now 55-9. 21 scored in this quarter alone. It's their time for one final goal. And credit there to the goalkeeper, Lai Yu-Jie. So after 3 quarters, Maldives, fantastic for them. Their highest scoring quarter so far. They won that 21-1. And overall lead Chinese Taipei, 55-9. Fourth and final quarter here, the M1 Asian Netball Championships. This is the second group stages. Maldives up against Chinese Taipei. It's 55-9 at the moment. Maldives are dominating this. I think it's safe to say, Philip, go. Yeah, you've got to be clinical, don't you?
has been a very, very tough one for them. I wouldn't want to complain about how tough it is to commentate this game when you think about these girls down there trying to figure their way into this game.
And it's going to get tougher tomorrow. They play the Philippines at 9 a.m. And on the 6th, that's Thursday, they're up against Pakistan, which might turn out to be perhaps marginally closer.
Possibly the best matchup for them at this stage, because as we remind viewers, the Philippines actually beat Pakistan 62-36 earlier today in the other match of this grouping. So it will probably be a little bit more competitive for Chinese Taipei when they go up against Pakistan rather than Philippines.
A few changes, as you'd expect, for both sides.
It's just also good for a match like this, as we see a lot of rotation being employed by the Chinese Taipei coach, and I think that's a good move for them. You want all your players to be involved and also to work them around the court so that they actually get the experience of the pressures of playing in each different position.
I'll be telling you very shortly about some of those changes.
It's mostly positional.
Yep, and
That's the goal scored by Maldives.
so we can tell you that a couple of changes for Chinese Taipei, with Hsin-Ju is another goal scorer. Dai Jun-Fang is in goal attack. For Maldives, Amirada back in goal defence. Hanan Hussain is a centre. Wing defence is Sattar Abdul Bari. And Aisath is wing attack. There's a caution here for the Chinese Taipei centre, Chen Peng-Hsuan, for contact. And I think you mentioned it earlier in the third quarter that Chinese Taipei, there's a degree of frustration at the moment.
Yes, just not having things go your way. How do you control your emotions? Is that when you concede 19 goals before you actually take one off?
Yep, it's a fair point. Eemaa has been obviously very, very good. But is there an opportunity for them to maybe score a little bit earlier in this quarter and try to maybe push? We saw Japan respond fantastically well. Yes, they go. There you go. 4-1. They were competitive in that first quarter for a little bit, weren't they? And then they started to run away from them.
And I think it's also a measure of the Maldives just picking it up, picking up the pace.
Guys, this one is off. You need to leave it on in order for it to move.
So Maldives looking to push forward here again.
Oh, Shazad, do you often find yourself speaking to yourself? I'm trying to tell myself that Chinese Taipei really need to find their way back in, and I guess a bit of consolation there. They've actually got into the double figures there. It's 60-10, a difference of 50 points there between the two teams.
And still plenty of time to go. real concern that this could go a lot more than the 50 points. Chinese Taipei still only 4 goals in this, 5-1 at the moment. And it is, of course, perfectly human to see teams just take their foot off the pedal a little bit. For the moment, don't see that necessarily from the Maldives. So they might start to think, Philip, that yes, they've won this and they've won this very well. That really, this is between them and the Philippines. That match is first thing. Oh, sorry, that match against the Philippines, that's on Thursday. They have a game tomorrow against Pakistan. Would they just think now, since we've won this and we've won this handsomely, is there a thought that maybe we just start to just take it a little easier?
But to be honest with you, Shazad, I think if I were the Maldives coach, I would think about rotating the players tomorrow just to make sure that they all get a good workout.
In tomorrow's game, you mean?
Well, tomorrow's game against Pakistan.
Yep.
I think it will be unwise to let your best players go out on court and possibly pick up an injury. I think that would be disastrous if you want to go up against the best team afterwards. So it's just a matter of just getting them a good a run out and possibly just a bit of court time, but not an entire match, so that they avoid picking up the injury, but just to keep them sharp. As for Chinese Taipei, I think they do need as much court time as possible, and already we are seeing in this match that the coach has done a good job of rotating all his players into various positions, as well as making sure all their players actually get a chance to play. And even then,
yeah, I mean, you make a very good point. If we're looking at all the substitution sheets we've been given, it's a lot of changes have been made, a lot of rotation, especially with the Maldives. Not so much with the Chinese Taipei side.
Yeah, well, every single move has been working out for them so far. But I can sense now also that the Maldives are slowing down.
Yeah,
actually.
I would agree with that. It's 7-1. We're halfway through this fourth quarter. And they just not scoring at the same rate, but maybe trying out a few things as well. Remember, not a side particularly well known for playing, for competing in netball. Neither the Maldives, but they are having an impressive showing today.
Have you been to the Maldives?
I have indeed. I've been very fortunate to have been there and very much enjoyed myself. Wonderful destination. Yourself?
I have to say, it's one of those places that I've often wanted to go. I keep hearing so many good things about the Maldives.
Of course, it's
a beautiful island paradise?
Yes, definitely is. What they do suffer, I know for a fact, is playing space, sports space, because of shortage of land. It's an archipelago made up of atolls and lots of small islands, so sports not easy. So for them to put up on a performance like this today, I think is impressive. And the fact they were a country of 300,000 people up against a mighty Japan, and to only come 1 goal short is something very special. So they should be very proud of themselves, and so should that particular player, Eemaa Abdul Sattar, who has been excellent today.
It's been very steady under pressure. Well, an obstruction call there as the Maldives again work their way up the court.
And it's yet another goal for Eemaa and the Maldives. 67-10. It's 12-1 in this quarter alone.
Oh, I see. Aminath Leela coming back into the game for the fourth quarter. She played in the first quarter.
She had a little bit of a mixed bag, didn't she?
Yeah, she did. And that last goal attempt that we saw from the Maldives, that was from Aminath, and she put it again way over the net, but you know, her teammate picked it up. It's still a very comfortable lead for the Maldives. They've been hardly threatened in this entire match by the very, very young Chinese Taipei side, which I guess we can possibly remind our viewers of their average age. Shazad.
Yeah, I think it's relevant in the sense that there is part of the reason today that we are seeing such a one-sided match is that they are average age of the side is 14 years, and the Maldives is 23. So we do have to put a caveat with this victory that it isn't perhaps the strongest side that the Chinese Taipei team can put out.
Well, that was a good move there.
Yeah, very good move. Oh, and a chance not taken. It's disappointing. It kind of sums up really their day. But you know what? Maldives can only beat what's in front of them, Philip.
That's true. And I think it's, you know, I'm not, you know, if you think about it, you're 14 years old and you pick up a senior cap in sports. That's an achievement of some kind.
Absolutely brilliant. Well, they might want to see, with 3 minutes left, Chinese Taipei might think, well, look, we've only scored, the best we've scored so far is 4 points in the first and second quarter as a minimum target. Let's see if we can at least match that, if not better it.
Yeah.
You know, there's enough time to do that.
Definitely.
So here is a chance. Oh, and the rubber, the green, is just not with them today. And you do feel a little bit there for Dai Jun-Fang. She's had some excellent opportunities that just haven't gone her way. So time to take advantage and get the ball back here, Chinese Taipei. Ball over a third. Have to keep pass it over two of the thirds. Can't go all that far away. There's Eemaa again. Comes right back at them. Eemaa, lovely turn from her. And can she just finish us off? Beautifully done. It's now 70-10. We have less than 2 minutes left. Chinese Taipei finding it very hard to cope. And look at the size differential between the goalkeeper and goal attack.
Get past the goalkeeper in that way. I mean, Ibrahim is just towering presence in that section of the court. It's a minute and a half for Chinese Taipei to try and, you know, limit the damage, put a couple of consolation goals on board. But at the moment, there's a 60-point gap between the Maldives and Chinese Taipei.
They lose possession there, back with the Maldives. Contact. And then obstruction. Just not going their way at the moment, Chinese Taipei. Well, we were wondering whether Chinese Taipei might add to their tally in this quarter. Have to say, it looks highly unlikely.
Depending on how fast the Maldives actually complete this particular possession, it could well mean one last possession for Chinese Taipei.
Eemaa, there was contact on her. She'll get the opportunity here. Maybe
So
one last chance.
Yes.
As we wrap up here, your final thoughts, Philip, go on this match.
I think the scoreboard says it all. It's 72-10 for the Maldives. The Maldives have enjoyed a really good win, a good experience for the Chinese Taipei team. But I'm afraid this is not a match for them today.
Yep, well summed up there, Philip Goh. Thank you very much. Maldives led from start to finish and powered away from the second quarter onwards. They thrashed Chinese Taipei 73-10.